Hello and welcome. Welcome back to another Onkruid video. Welcome back to another episode in Diablo 3 where we are setting up for our great Primal Ancient Legendary hunt. On the docket today is gonna be getting our first Primal Ancient Legendary item, but not in like the RNG sense, not in the sense that we are actually chasing. Not in the dopamine inducing, getting very lucky, having grinded for a long time sense. Just in a sense of when you unlock the item, when you unlock the ability rather to get Primal Ancient Legendaries, you get one for free. And it's more often than not, it's almost always gonna be one that you cannot use, which is I guess kind of the main gist of every single Primal Ancient Legendary item you find in Diablo 3. Barely one you can use, but the beautiful thing is that now you can use it for your Altar of Rites, first of all, and additionally, if you gain a couple of them, if you actually find a couple of Primal Ancient Legendaries, I think you need just two, you can craft one of your items. Is it only weapons? Something in my mind says that it's only weapons, but I'm not sure, into a crafted Primal item, of which you can only wear one at a time. Maybe that's the question we can talk about for today. Maybe that's the topic we can talk about today, because I kind of started out on a blank. I didn't really know what I mean to say in this episode, but I just wanted to start recording because I don't have a lot of time, because I haven't recorded a lot lately, and because I really want to play some more Diablo 3. The question maybe is, what do I think about Diablo 3's gameplay loop, and especially the end game? Automatically, there's gonna be comparisons in there, because I've played a little bit. I would maybe call it my fair share, but I think for action RPG players, it's gonna be more like a little bit, because I haven't invested 2 kidneys, the lifespan of one of my children, and their entire college funds into the game yet. But I've played some Path of Exile, you know, some of the Path of Exile endgame with the atlas and the maps and finding your way and all that good shit, but not too in-depth yet. I feel like I've only scratched the surface, if we're being completely honest, if I'm being completely honest to myself. I don't know what my playtime in Path of Exile is, but I think it's gonna be... That's a good question. I would presume it's gonna be at least like 300 hours, maybe? Let me just, while we're here, take a quick look, right? What do I have to lose? Except for time, except for viewers, except for people without patience. Playtime 418.9 hours, so only 1 hour and a tenth of an hour, which is 6 minutes more, and then I will have 420 hours playtime. Now that's a goal to strive towards. I feel like during that time I realized that the endgame system in a game like that is a little bit more in depth, is a little bit more fleshed out, more diversity, more separate options really, than in something like Diablo 3. I cannot speak on Wolson Lords of Mayhem. I cannot speak on Diablo 4. And in general, I cannot speak, otherwise I will be in big trouble. If you get that reference, true respect point, because I don't even know where it is from. I just know that some people say it because some football coach or basketball coach or something said that. I digress. I feel like those are the only ARPGs I know of by now that are kind of taking the world, or that have taken the world by storm before. I cannot speak about Minecraft Dungeons endgame. That game died out rather quickly. I know my buddy Krogan gave it a shot once, but I think he wasn't all that chefed to bits about it, because otherwise he would have told me more about it, or told me to buy it probably. For the Diablo Path of Exile comparison, I think the endgame of Path of Exile is better, cooler. I think the build-up towards the endgame is cooler in Diablo 3, because you have more options to choose from. Maybe I'm just salty for having to have played the Path of Exile story all those times, but only the campaign, that's your only option to level up. Whereas here in Diablo, there's still like meta techniques, of course. There's still certain paths of leveling that'll get you level to 70 a lot more quickly than other paths, but you have the choice. You have the choice to do the campaign if you're an absolute lunatic that eats mayonnaise straight from the jar with your hands, or you can use rifts, or you can use the most effective way, which is to get into very dense areas with a whole lot of monsters, like the not the ruins of Citron, it's in Act 2, the Temple of the Firstborn, or like, for example, some people also like the Hells of Agony level 3, because you have a little interaction there, a little environmental section there that really helps you kill all the enemies. I usually go for Temple of the Firstborn. I know it's boring, but the most efficient technique to level is something I love doing because it just gets me into the end game, which I enjoy so much more quicker. I don't need Enchantress focuses, don't need this as well. Okay, that's interesting. Blackthorns, Blackthorns. Nope. I feel like we need this for our Rift variety of our build, so I think I'm gonna just pop it in there, and then for the rest of them, you can all just chill in here for a second. A bit of a messy bank stash this season, but I'm not playing all that much, so I don't want to put too much effort into it. We are saving up our blood shards still, because we're trying to get to the next altar of rites. Okay. Tournament level 70. This is a main part of the endgame gameplay loop, so it ties in nicely to the subject we're talking about today. This is kind of the main goal you are striving towards, I feel like. The first step is, of course, getting level 70. The second step is, I think, completing your seasonal journey to get a set you definitely don't want to play, like, for example, Spike Trap, and then going for a build that you actually want to play. It's actually quite an intricate process that already takes some time before you can, as per se, like, start playing the game. Although I feel like if you really want more of a casual experience, I don't know if action RPGs in general can provide a casual experience, just the way the games are formatted, the way the games are supposed to be played. But I think if you want a casual experience, Diablo is gonna be way more fun for you than something like Path of Exile as well. So maybe there's something to be said about that too, about how simplicity can sometimes be key. Maybe the endgame in Diablo it's a lot more straightforward. And when I say Diablo, I mean Diablo 3, of course. It's a lot more straightforward. And maybe that is appeasing to some people as well. Maybe that butters their egg roll in a different way. That the complexity of Path of Exile can also butter their egg roll in another different way. Maybe, and this is like this is the psychologist perspective, this is the pussy perspective, but this is the perspective you can have on almost everything in life. Maybe a little bit of both is true. Both have their strengths, both have their weaknesses, and maybe a combination of playing the both of them is actually going to be the most fun. Small little side note there, if you play both Path of Exile and Diablo up until the end game and you continue playing them, you are going to have to quit your job, sell your pets on the black market, donate your children to Goodwill, and then maybe you will have enough time. Because these games are absolute time wells, absolute wells of eternity where you can just literally stow away all your time in. We're dying a lot here, but it's completely fine. All we're doing is trying to get just to the completion of the Rift, which is exactly the mentality I use in my sex life as well. All I'm doing is trying to get to completion, to the great dismay of my girlfriend. Okay, back to the topic at hand. Maybe Diablo 3 is a little bit too linear though. And I feel like after a while, if you're not a complete... God fucking hell. If you're not a complete die-hard player, you will stop enjoying that gameplay loop. I think it's not enticing enough for people that are not really into the game. We are dying so much as well, I think. Well, mainly because we're just not tanky, because we are purely glass cannon, but because these grim raids are attacking us with undodgeable attacks. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna collect this orb, and then I'm just gonna try and get out of here as quickly as possible and get to the next level. Even though there's some nice mobs packed up here, we can't deal with this because they have undodgeable attacks that they immediately fire off. Oh, it's not over here. That sucks. We can try and kill a little bit of them at least. Make sure our timer does not just completely deplete and get out of here. Okay, please tell me the mobs here are a little bit more beneficial towards what we are trying to do here, to what we are trying to achieve, which is surviving long enough to deal damage to at least some of the monsters around us. Yeah, this already feels a lot better. We even tanked a hit there. No more Grim Raids so far. These enemies are also scary, but I guess they are more predictable and dodgeable, which is what we were looking for. And in general, our damage is definitely still carrying us through this. We are glass cannon, but the glass cannon part is working. Because they aren't shattering us. They aren't shattering us like the little vulnerable glass pane we are. I feel like in Path of Exile, because of the focus you need to have on elemental resistances way more than in Diablo 3, the endgame requires you to be more thoughtful about the build you're going. Especially also just because of the systems Path of Exile uses in their items. Assembling your build is a lot harder than in Diablo 3. There's complexity in there as well. And I think defensive capacities are something you need to focus on way more in a game like Path of Exile than in a game like Diablo, sorry. Going glass cannon is kind of the norm in Diablo. In Path of Exile, you need to have a well-rounded, balanced character most of the time. Because the most fun I've had in Path of Exile was when I was playing my, I think, double strike duelist or something. And that guy just melted screens. Just completely got rid of entire screens in a heartbeat. And that was really a blast. We have a shield pylon here, which is very enjoyable. And I might try to save up. No, I'm not going to save it up because I want to survive a little bit longer. And maybe we can even get close to the Rift Guardian already with the shield pylon. And then once all the ads are gone, we don't need the shield anymore because we are well equipped to deal with the Rift Guardian. Our single target damage is immense, but I am way more into the screen clearing type of builds, like the multi-shot build we are eventually going for, of course. Which you might get to see on camera, you might not get to see on camera. That kind of depends on how quickly we actually get that Primal Ancient Legendary we are hunting for. With the season system, I think it's more boring in Diablo 3 than it is in Path of Exile. In Path of Exile you have leagues which, to be quite frank with you, sometimes feel just like almost completely new games. The mechanics they introduce in those leagues sometimes transform the game drastically. It can get a little bit repetitive some seasons, some leagues, that was at least my experience when playing the game still quite a lot. But in general, oh yeah man, they can completely change up the game. And I can greatly appreciate that. In Diablo, there's more small changes. There's more small, intricate, barely noticeable. Oh, there's one new type of item. Oh, there's one new type of gem. Okay, there's one new type of jungle. Jungle? Dungeon. Wicked. Jungle is massive. In Path of Exile, it's really like, this is a game-changing mechanic that you will need to learn. I guess I need to learn a little bit, a thing or two about fighting Cold Snap here as well, because when he just transforms or teleports right onto my head, it's a little bit hard to deal with. My Primal Ancient is a belt. It's not a belt that we have to wear. It sucks. It really sucks. But that's okay. That's okay. The main part is that the main thingamajig is that we now have the capacity in us to drop Primal Ancient Legendaries outside of dungeons. Anybody as excited as I am? Because I am quite excited. Final conclusions are, I think that I just love the Diablo 3 endgame. It's such an enjoyable... Okay, I need to look up what I need to invest in. It's such an enjoyable gameplay loop. And what I enjoy most about it, or what strikes me most about it, is that I am still not tired of it after all these years, really. Sure, not the best upgrade, not the upgrade I prefer, but... Okay, we can invest in that a little bit, because this is something great to get, this power. And we can, of course, buy it immediately, because we are definitely disenchanting it. Okay, we know what the next episode is going to be about. Thank you very much for watching. I hope to see you in the next one. I didn't even finish my final conclusion. No, I did finish my final conclusion. What the fuck is wrong with me? It's early still. Going out for a coffee and then an hour or two. Maybe just record another episode right now. And right here as well. Another Ancient, but not Primal Ancient. This is our Primal Ancient Legendary. Not gonna use it, but I am gonna salvage it. And I'll do it right on camera. Goodbye. Okay, see you in the next one.